January 20th, 2011, a chemical tanker filled with oil worth $9.8 million was sailing near the Gulf of Aden when it was attacked by Somali pirates. A swift response from the Navy was all it took to rescue the vessel, but as for the pirates, they never lived to tell the tale of their encounter with the Navy they messed with. Here are a few Somali pirates who messed with the wrong Navy. MV Leela Norfolk. January 5th, 2024, 6 armed Somali pirates hijacked the MV Leela Norfolk with the hopes of hitting pay dirt. What they didn't know was a dramatic rescue operation was imminent, which would have them running for their dear lives. On that fateful Friday evening, the calm of the sea was shattered by an urgent SOS call from the MV Leela Norfolk. The 84,000-ton bulk carrier was navigating the treacherous waters near the coast of Somalia when it was attacked by pirates. The distress signal was clear. 5 or 6 armed individuals had forcefully boarded the ship, putting the lives of its 21 crew members, including 15 Indians, in grave danger. Upon getting the call, the Indian Navy wasted no time. Resources were immediately deployed. The frontline warship INS Chennai, which was on anti-piracy patrol, swiftly changed course to intercept the hijacked vessel. The skies were soon filled with the roar of maritime patrol aircraft, helicopters, and the buzz of Predator MQ-9B drones, all converging on the MV Leela Norfolk's location. January 8th, 2024, the INS Chennai's advanced P-81 aircraft executed a strategic maneuver over the hijacked vessel. The aircraft, equipped with the state-of-the-art surveillance technology, swooped in over the hijacked vessel, broadcasting a series of stern warnings to the pirates. The unexpected intervention by the P-81 aircraft created a palpable tension amongst the pirates who, realizing the gravity of their situation and the imminent threat of a forceful response, were gripped by fear. And that fear swiftly turned into a desperate bid for escape as the pirates abandoned their unlawful seizure of the MV Leela, fleeing the scene to evade capture. While the Navy was still in the dark about the pirates' escape, they gathered other assets in preparation to surround the area. And in no time, they boarded the Norfolk, moving with stealth and precision. Shortly after, they sanitized the vessel and realized the absence of the hijackers, indicating that the pirates had jumped ship due to the Navy's prompt and forceful intervention. Marisk, Alabama.
A Somali pirate who attacked 3 ships and took a captain hostage was sentenced in Lower Manhattan today. A judge gave him 33 years and 9 months in prison.
The hijacking of the Marisk, Alabama, and the subsequent rescue operation by the U.S. Navy is a reminder to pirates not to mess with the wrong Navy. April 8th, 2009, the Marisk, Alabama, a cargo ship flying the U.S. flag, was about 240 nautical miles off the coast of Somalia when it was seized by 4 Somali pirates. Despite the crew's efforts to repel the attackers, including using flares and fire hoses, the pirates managed to get aboard. The crew would be the first resistance the pirates had to contend with. Now, they've trained for such an event and executed their anti-piracy plan flawlessly. While many passengers on board retreated to a secure room, the captain of the Marisk, Alabama, Captain Richard Phillips, and a few others were captured on the bridge. However, in a daring move, the other crew members managed to capture one of the pirates, leading to a tense hostage exchange that resulted in Phillips being taken to a lifeboat. After the pirates departed, the U.S. Navy was immediately alerted about the situation, and they dispatched the destroyer, USS Bainbridge, to the scene. Over the next few days, the Bainbridge was joined by other vessels and surveillance aircraft. The SEALs, known for their counterterrorism prowess, were called in to handle the situation. On April 12, 2009, the pirates were sighted on their lifeboat. The Bainbridge maintained a distance, keeping the lifeboat within sight and using its superior technology to monitor the situation closely. When communication was established, negotiations began, with the pirates demanding a ransom for Phillips' safe return. In response, the Navy was willing to trade their pirate that was captured by the crew members of the Marisk, Alabama, for the captain. As the standoff continued, the Navy SEALs were called in to take up positions. They brought with them .30 caliber sniper rifles, among other equipment, and prepared for a possible rescue operation, which may require the input of snipers. With Captain Phillips' life on the line, the SEALs took decisive action. Positioned on the fantail of the Bainbridge, they had a clear line of sight to the lifeboat where Phillips was held. The pirates were growing increasingly agitated. and when one of them pointed the AK-47 at Phillips, the SEALs had their cue. In a synchronized operation, 3 snipers fired simultaneously, taking out the 3 pirates in the lifeboat. The 4th pirate, who had surrendered earlier, was taken into custody, and Captain Phillips was rescued unharmed. Operation Dawn 8, January 20th, 2011. The chemical tanker MV Bungalore was sailing through the perilous waters near the Gulf of Aden when it was attacked by Somali pirates. The vessel, loaded with lubricating oil and other chemicals, worth approximately $9.8 million, was a lucrative target for the marauders, but these pirates wouldn't live to tell the tale of their encounter with the Navy they messed with. A group of pirates, armed with AK-47s and pistols, launched an attack on the MV Bungalore from their skiff-type boats. After successfully overpowering the crew on the vessel, 7 pirates from the group, consisting of 18 men, came aboard. Amidst the assault, the 23 Filipino crew members aboard swiftly activated the ship's security alert system and sent out their distress to the nearby Royal Malaysian Navy auxiliary ship, Bunga Mas Lima. Following orders from the Fleet Operation Commander, the MV Bungalore was instructed to reverse course and make haste towards a Navy-secured escort, designated BM-5, to hasten the rescue efforts. After all the measures were put in place, the crew sought refuge within a fortified security chamber known as the Citadel, situated adjacent to the engine room. The Malaysian Shipborne Protection Team, consisting of 14 members of elite naval counterterrorism group Pascal, sprang into action. The rescue op was tagged Operation Dawn 8, which added more anticipation for what was to come. The Pascal team, equipped with cutting-edge gear and weapons, set off in 2 rigged-hulled inflatable boats. In the sky, they were supported by an aerial attack chopper. Under the cover of darkness, the team trailed the tanker for an entire night, closing in on the pirates' positions undetected. January 20th, 2011, the commandos launched their assault in the dark. A Fennec attack chopper roared overhead, providing a distraction to prevent reinforcement of the 11 remaining pirates as Pascal operatives boarded the Bungalore. The rescue team took 7 pirates on board by surprise. Gunfire broke out, but it looked like the chopper's 20mm machine gun just rocked the place. The highly trained commandos wasted no time to overpower the pirates, collecting their guns and other ammunition. In the end, the entire crew of the Bungalore, all 23 members, were rescued unharmed. 3 pirates were wounded in the action, and 4 were captured. MV Moscow University, May 5th, 2010, Gulf of Aden. The MV Moscow University, a Liberian-flagged Russian oil tanker, was ambushed by Somali pirates. Now, despite the crew's resistance with water cannons and flare pistols, the pirates got on board using an assault ladder. After noticing that the pirates were coming on board, the captain acted swiftly, ordering the crew to hide all their supplies and barricade themselves in the engine room. From there, they sent out their distress signal, marking the beginning of a tense 20-hour standoff. May 6, 2010, the Russian Navy destroyer, Marshal Shapozhnikov, was dispatched to the tanker's location after receiving that signal. But that's not all. A Royal Australian Air Force AP-3C Orion also responded, providing crucial reconnaissance information. Now, the Orion located the tanker in no time, which was dead in the water, with 3 small skiffs alongside, indicating a pirate hijacking. As the Shapozhnikov closed in, the pirates, rather than fleeing, stayed on board the Moscow University. They probably thought they had this Russian destroyer, but the pirates fired at the approaching reconnaissance helicopter, which returned that fire, killing 1 pirate. The act of aggression didn't deter the rescue mission, though, but rather confirmed the hostile situation and a need for immediate action. With the crew confirmed to be safe and barricaded, the Russian Navy proceeded with their rescue op. The destroyer fired 2 warning shots as a final caution to the pirates. Following that, the Marshal opened fire with its cannons, providing cover for the naval infantry commandos to be deployed. Despite the heat, the pirates remained undeterred by the approaching threat, with the hope of using the crew as leverage. What they didn't know is that this was just the tip of the iceberg. Before the pirates on board knew what was happening, a chopper from the ship landed on the hijacked ship's deck. under the cover of cannon fire. Then the Russian naval infantry commandos swiftly boarded. They first conducted a rapid and forceful assault, securing the ship and ensuring the safety of the crew. And after a shootout, the pirates were overpowered and captured, and the entire crew was rescued unharmed. Once the pirates were disarmed and their equipment seized, they were released and sent off into the sea in this inflatable raft. Mercifully, they were given basic provisions of food and water but lacked any means to navigate. However, it's speculated that these pirates likely perished at sea, as the Navy left them with no navigational aid. MV Sirius Star. March 29, 2009, German tanker FGS Spessart was sailing as a part of the Operation Atlanta when it found itself in a perilous situation. A small boat with 7 pirates aboard made an aggressive approach. The Spessart, though formerly a civilian vessel, wasn't without its defenses. On board was 40 civilian crew members and a 12-man security detail prepared for such an encounter. Now, the pirates, mistaking that tanker for an easy target, initiated their assault. The security team aboard the Spessart sprang into action, exchanging fire with the assailants. The gun battle was intense, but the well-trained security detail managed to repel the pirates' advance, safeguarding the crew and vessel. But the drama on the high seas was far from over. The German frigate Rhineland-Pfalz, which was in the vicinity, received the distress signal and quickly intervened. In a display of international cooperation, vessels from different navies joined the pursuit, including HNLMS Des Zeven Provincien, Sara, Victoria, and USS Boxer. What ensued was a high-stakes chase. The Allied naval forces pursued the pirate boat, and this chase lasted several hours. At the end of the day, the pirates were eventually captured, bringing the ordeal to a successful conclusion. Pranay 14, battle off Minicoy Island. January 28, 2011. An Indian Coast Guard Dornier aircraft, while on routine patrol, detected suspicious activity from a group of Somali pirates. What came afterward was beyond what anyone would have thought. A Somali pirate group of more than 13 men was spotted during this anti-piracy patrol to the west of the Lakshadweep archipelago called Operation Island Watch. The Coast Guard Dornier aircraft noticed 2 skiffs and the trawler Pranay 14, a vessel commandeered by Somali pirates pursuing the Bahamian container ship MV Verdi. And as soon as the pirates realized they'd been spotted from the air, they quickly abandoned their chase and retreated to their mothership, Pranay 14. Their retreat was, however, too late, as the sighting was immediately reported. The Indian Navy immediately dispatched 3 ships, including the 325-ton INS Kankerso, a Car-Nicobar-class patrol vessel. However, when the Indian warship got to the reported spot, the pirate vessel and skiffs were nowhere to be found. After a few hours of a thorough search, the Kankerso finally located Pranay 14, about 100 nautical miles north of Minicoy Island, hence the rescue operation tagged Battle off Minicoy Island. As the sun climbed higher, the Kankerso's crew attempted to hail the pirates, but their calls were met with silence. The Navy was left with no choice but to fire a warning shot, which started a fierce exchange between pirates and the Indian Navy. The pirates brought out their arsenals, retaliating with rocket-propelled grenades and AK-47s. The battle raged for 12 grueling hours, until the Kankerso's 30mm CRN-91 naval gun eventually delivered the decisive blows. It was at this point that fuel drums aboard the Pranay 14 ignited, and the pirate vessel began to burn. With their ship aflame, the pirates and their hostages abandoned that ship. The waters became the safest place to run as 35 men, 20 hostages, and 15 pirates plunged into the sea. Following this development, the Indian sailors immediately ceased fire and shifted their focus to rescuing everyone from the water. Amidst this turmoil, the INS Kalpeni and the Coast Guard ship CGS Sankalp arrived to offer assistance in the ensuing rescue efforts. In the aftermath, 10 pirates tragically met their demise in this fierce encounter. The ones who survived were immediately apprehended and securely transported to Mumbai aboard the vessel Kankerso, where they faced really long jail sentences. Meanwhile, the Pranay 14 eventually sank to the depths of the sea in a blaze that lasted several hours. Marisk, Virginia, May 22, 2009. A tense situation unfolded off the coast of Somalia when pirates launched this aggressive assault on the American container ship, Marisk, Virginia. The Somali pirates were, however, in for a rude shock when the quick intervention of the Canadian warship, HMCS Winnipeg, soiled their evil plan. The Virginia is part of the same fleet as the Alabama, infamous for its captain's capture by pirates just a month prior. This vessel found itself in dire straits within the perilous waters of the Gulf of Aden. The crew of the attack ship was able to send out a call for help before it was too late. Thankfully, the Canadian warship HMCS Winnipeg was stationed around the vicinity and received the signal from the besieged Marisk, Virginia. Winnipeg itself, in fact, had been patrolling the area as part of international efforts to curb piracy, and recognizing the urgency of this situation, the Winnipeg's crew sprang into action, dispatching 3 naval choppers to scan the area of attack. Within mere minutes, the choppers intercepted the pirate skiff, known as Maria K, that had attached itself to the Virginia. And oh boy, were these pirates not ready for a high-stakes chase. As the helicopters drew closer, the pirates aboard the Maria K quickly realized the gravity of their predicament, and with the sight of the formidable Winnipeg in view, the pirates knew their fate was sealed. So they would abandon their attack and quickly try to get away. However, there was no getting away from the armed forces. So in an act of surrender, they tossed their weapons into the ocean. Now with the pirates disarmed, a team of Italian Navy approached the Maria K with caution. They boarded the pirates' skiff and secured the vessel, abating the deadly attack that would have been launched. Vega 5. March 13, 2011, an Indian Navy patrol aircraft over the Arabian Sea sighted the Mozambique-registered fishing vessel Vega 5 in dire distress. The merchant ship has been under the control of Somali pirates for 3 months with hostages on board. December 27, 2010, the Vega 5, a vessel hailing from the port city of Beira and owned by the Spanish fishing conglomerate Pescamar LDA, had fallen victim to piracy. The pirates, driven by greed, had demanded a ransom of a staggering $1.8 million for the release of that vessel and its crew. After the patrol aircraft reported the sighting, the Indian naval ship Kalpeni, a fast attack craft, was dispatched to intercept the ship. As the Kalpeni approached the Vega 5, the pirates immediately opened fire as they saw the imminent threat. They took out their rocket-propelled grenades and made use of their cache of more than 80 assault rifles. The Indian Navy responded in kind as they returned the fire. The exchange was brutal, leading the Vega 5 bursting into flames. Faced with the inferno, the pirates made a desperate choice. And in this attempt to avoid capture, all 61 of them leaped into the turbulent waters of the Arabian Sea. The Indian Navy, trained for such emergencies, launched a swift and daring rescue op. So, one by one, the pirates were plucked from the perilous sea, but they were far from being free. The 13 crew members of the Vega 5, who had endured months of fear and uncertainty, had also now regained their freedom. Luckily, the INS Kalpeni was successful in their attempt to put out the fire on the Vega 5 and escort her safely to Mumbai. USS Ashland. April 10, 2010, a group of Somali pirates sealed their fate by attacking the U.S. Navy ship, the USS Ashland. The outcome of this attack was so severe that some of the pirates didn't survive. The USS Ashland is a landing ship of the U.S. Navy equipped with a variety of arsenals designed for self-defense in combat situations. Now try to imagine what would happen to anybody, especially pirates, who try to mess with it. April 10, 2010. The Ashland was on a routine operation in the Gulf of Aden when it encountered this skiff. carrying a crew of suspected pirates. Now the pirates, mistaking the Ashland for a merchant ship, opened fire with their small arms from their skiff. They didn't know they'd bite off more than they could chew. As soon as the Ashland felt the impact of these pirate shots, she followed her rules of engagement, which dictated the conditions under which the U.S. Navy could apply lethal force. The Navy responded, firing just 2 rounds at this skiff from her Mk-38 Mod 2 25mm machine gun, a weapon system designed for ship self-defense against small high-speed surface targets. Let's just say this thing can rip through helicopters and armored vehicles. The immediate and effective response of the Navy ship neutralized that threat, preventing any harm to the ship and crew. The accurate fire from the Ashland resulted in the pirate skiff catching fire. In fact, the bullet hit one of the pirates and pierced him in the chest just before his lifeless body fell into the water. The ones who survived stood no chance against the armed forces, as they immediately abandoned ship and sought safety in the cold waters of the sea. If the pirates thought that was all, they were in for a shock. Seeing that their attackers had fled into the water, the Ashland's crew immediately deployed their rigged hull inflatable boats and launched a rescue operation to save these drowning pirates. Once they were rescued, it was verified that they no longer posed a threat. They were brought aboard the USS Ashland and taken into custody. The Somali pirates were then transported to the U.S. to face trial for piracy, conspiracy, and other offenses. They were found guilty on all counts and given life plus 10 years in prison. S.Y. Quest.
Had been found guilty of murdering 4 Americans on the yacht Quest, which was off the coast of Africa in February of 2011.
February 18, 2011, 1:23 p.m. The S.Y. Quest, an American yacht, sailed peacefully until the unforeseen occurred. 19 Somali pirates operating in the treacherous waters off the coast of Somalia orchestrated a hostile takeover of the ship, subsequently taking 4 American citizens captive. The Quest is a 58-foot yacht owned by Scott and Jean Adam, a retired couple from California who were sailing around the world with their 2 friends distributing Bibles. The U.S. Navy was quick to respond to the hijacking. The aircraft carrier USS Enterprise, along with the guided missile cruiser USS Leyte Gulf and the guided missile destroyers USS Sterett and USS Bulkeley, were dispatched to intercept the Quest as it was being sailed toward Puntland by the pirates. Now, their intention was to take the Americans back to Somalia and put them up for ransom for millions of dollars. February 21, 2011, negotiations for the hostages' release began, with 2 pirates boarding the USS Sterett. The Navy, led by Captain D. Mewborn of the Enterprise and navigator Christopher Sandon, engaged in talks with the pirates, hoping for a peaceful resolution. The Navy would offer them to take the yacht in exchange for the hostages, but the pirates refused. February 22, 2011, the situation escalated when a pirate aboard the Quest fired a rocket-propelled grenade at the USS Sterett, missing it by a narrow margin. This act of aggression was a clear sign the pirates weren't willing to surrender that easily, but this daring move against the U.S. Navy crew was a very bad mistake. Immediately, the shot from the pirates missed its mark. Gunfire was heard from the yacht, which prompted the Navy to take immediate action. A boarding party was sent from the USS Sterett to board the Quest. The SEAL team, highly trained for such high-stakes situations, approached stealthily. Upon boarding the yacht, the SEALs would get resistance, and in this brief but intense gun battle, 2 pirates were killed by rifle fire, and another with a combat knife. The remaining 13 surrendered and threw their AK-47s in the water, after which they were taken into custody. However, despite the successful boarding and apprehension of the pirates, the operation ended in tragedy. The 4 American hostages were found to have been fatally shot by their captors in what appeared to be a desperate final act. The bodies of 2 additional pirates were also found on board, with the Navy saying there was no clear explanation for their deaths. MTMG GT1. September 6, 2011, the MTMG GT1, a Thailand-registered oil tanker, found itself in the clutches of pirates off the coast of Terengganu, Malaysia. It all began when around 13 pirates stealthily boarded the MGT1. The crew, caught off guard, could only watch as the pirates took control of the 2.2 million-liter tanker. When the control room on land noticed there was no response from the MTMG GT1, they immediately reported it missing. Upon receiving the distress signal, the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MEA, sprang into action. September 7, 2017, a special airborne team was dispatched to search for the vessel, and just barely 10 hours after that distress signal came in, the MGT-1 was found. Warning shots were immediately fired by the Malaysian Navy at the 3 pirates who were in the boat attached to the oil vessel. As soon as the pirates saw what was coming, they tried to escape, but they were no match for the overhead surveillance and the other Navy team that had surrounded the tanker. After the pirates in the boat were subdued, the MEA team shifted their focus to gaining control of the entire vessel. Although they wanted to use the element of surprise as their main strategy, the initial shootout made that impossible. Nevertheless, the rescue team boarded the vessel as quietly as they could without alerting the pirates inside. What followed was a swift, coordinated effort. The team would move through the tanker, securing sections one by one. After a brief exchange of gunfire, all 10 pirates on board were arrested. Thankfully, the crew of the MTMG GT1, though shaken, were unharmed. The tanker was also secured, and the oil cargo, worth $1.66 million, remained intact.